another exciting Saturday here on Women Rise, Women at the Front Lines. My name is Madreen, and today join me welcome Miss Akello Cecilia. Yes.
Thank you so much, Madreen.
Hi.
Good morning to you all viewers. It's a pleasure to be on the show today.
Yes.
I'm doing fine. I'm blessed.
Okay, we thank God. Cecilia is a soft skills trainer with Rounding Up the Ages International. She's an author. She'll tell us more about the book. She has worked with the UN Human Rights, and she's passionate about providing hope to people through counselling and prayers. I know there is a lot that I've not mentioned that Cecilia is doing, but in the conversation she will tell us more about herself and what she's doing. Yes, Cecilia. Who is Cecilia? How do you describe yourself to someone who doesn't know Cecilia?
Yeah, thank you so much. Myself, I'm called Akello Cecilia, but now I added on Akwang. I'm married to Mr.
Akwang.
John Idongesit,
Okay.
a Nigerian citizen.
Oh.
Yeah, currently is out of the country. And a person who is the third born out of 4 children.
Okay.
For my mom, but for my dad, multiple children. I don't know everyone.
Yeah.
I come from a polygamous setting. And as far as education is concerned, I studied Masters in Development Studies from Uganda Matters University in Kose. And also I did a postgraduate diploma in monitoring and evaluation at the Uganda Management Institute. Okay. And then I did a Bachelor of Arts degree, Social Sciences, with a major in Gender and Development Studies at Makerere University. While at my Masters, for my research, I did a study on an assessment of access to land by formerly abducted women in northern Uganda, particularly in Onako sub-county. So I published it with the Lambert Academic Publishers in Germany. And currently the book is accessible on the Amazon.
Wow.
Yes.
Why land? Land is really a very difficult issue to handle. Why land? And maybe you can take us through northern Uganda in particular.
Land is a great asset, and most cases, when it comes to access by women, a woman can access land, but they cannot own land. And usually when they access the land, it has to be according to the guidance by the men. So many times people access land, for instance, through inheritance, by purchase, and then others receive it as gifts. However, I focused on formerly abducted women. As we all know, the war in northern Uganda displaced many people, and through that, we had people that were abducted and they went out to the bush and they got let me not call it marriage because it was not a proper condition for them. So they went out there, produced children with men who were rebels, and on return, coming back with their children, especially the boy child, it was very difficult for them to settle because most cases the boy child is the one that continues with the lineage of the family. So I focused on formerly abducted women because we already know that women in general are disadvantaged in accessing land. But among women, there are certain categories of women. Like myself, I bought land, several acres of land, have built my house, but not every woman can do that. Was still a woman who has been in the war, who has come back with a male child, and the family is telling you, take the child to the father, let them access the land from there. So you find the children, especially the boy child, they don't have where they can connect to. And when they grow, they're just there staying at the mercies of their mom. And I was privileged to interview a woman that produced with Joseph Kony.
Oh.
Yeah, that lady, she produced 2 children with Joseph Kony. And when she returned from the bush, she told me she was having a problem with integrating in the community because they used to identify her woman of Joseph Kony, and her mom, they would tell her mother-in-law of Joseph Kony, then the children. So she finds it difficult, like her parental side, both the father's side and the mom's side, they can't offer her land. And when I was speaking to other women, the disadvantage they told me is that when the men came back from the bush, they were rewarded by government. They were given amnesty.
Oh, okay.
And some of them were given land, and some of them remarried. So they didn't want any connection with the women they produced with in the land, in the bush. So what happens is that those women came out with vulnerability, but certain organizations were helping them with the reintegration by equipping them with skills, making like bags, learning how to do tailoring, all those kind of things to help them to reintegrate. So from my findings, I found that to a large extent, 90% of those women that are formerly abducted, they find difficulty in accessing land. And the fact that they don't have proper livelihood, they cannot raise enough funds for them to what? To purchase land. So many are squatting on family land, such that when it reaches a time, if they want to sell their family land, they are vulnerable. So the children also grow up, they have to hustle as the rest of the children. Yeah, so that's what the book is basically all about.
Well, you worked with the UN human rights, and this is also an issue that you can easily connect to that. Yeah. How are these women helped?
The women, like most of the women, how they are helped is when we come to create awareness to communities. No one chooses to be abducted. No one chooses to find themselves in a state of war. So we usually advocate as UN Human Rights when I was formally working there, until the government of Uganda didn't renew the mandate of the office last year. So the UN Human Rights used to work with different partners, both in government and non-governmental organizations, to create awareness about human rights. And one of the rights is for a woman or anyone to be able to access land or any means of production, and then access to education. When a woman is able to access education, they can be able to get a job that will help them get money to be able to purchase land and all these other things. So we also used to create awareness that people should be treated equally with respect and dignity. We should not discriminate people simply because someone was in the bush abducted. Instead, we have a role to help people to reintegrate in the community. And just like we have refugees in Uganda, us as host government, host community, don't make situations worse for anyone. Help people to settle in up to a point when there will be peace in their country and they go back home. Because today, you don't know when you'll be a refugee. Myself, my family, my dad, my siblings, they went for exile in Sweden. Most of them went as refugees. They were like political refugees. So they reached there, they settled in, they received them, they became citizens, they married there, and later on they were able to purchase property get dual citizenship, and because of that, they are able to send back money home that develops the country. So let's have a heart of welcoming and helping people to go through the different conditions. We should not worsen conditions by stigmatizing them and all those kind of things. So I did finish introducing myself. As far as work is concerned, I'm currently a soft skills trainer with Rounding Up the Ages International. It's a non-profit company based in Entebbe that was founded by our CEO, Dr. Jane Kingea Kayondo. And we train on soft skills. You may ask, what are soft skills?
Soft skills, of course.
So soft skills are those non-technical skills that help to facilitate interpersonal relationships and help to boost career growth, employability skills, and personal growth. So many cases, people have technical skills. Like for instance, a technical skill could be like our brothers and sisters who like are into IT. They can do troubleshooting and other things. So they do that troubleshooting, they have the technical skills, they do everything. But for you to do your work effectively, you need soft skills. You understand?
Yes.
So you might be an IT person and someone tells you that a client will call and they're like, my internet is not connecting. Then you're like, do this, do that. You're so rude. You lack the communication skills, the interpersonal skills. Or let me give a recent example. I went to a restaurant, and in that restaurant, I was very hungry. Just 2 days ago, I wanted to eat food. So I went to the restaurant, entered, sat inside, close to the counter. I sat for 15 minutes and no one attended to me. So what is it that the workers in that place are lacking? They lack soft skills. You understand? So you as a business manager, you find that yes, you have a business, you have a restaurant, but for you to attract customers, you need to train your staff to have soft skills. It starts right from welcoming. Like for instance, when I came to this place, the hospitality, right from the gate to inside, everyone has that warm, like you feel at home. You understand? So if you go to a restaurant and you're not welcomed, will you go back there? You will not go back there. If you raise an issue that you found something in the food and someone says, if you don't want to eat, you leave it. So those lack of soft skills are things that affect productivity. And these are things that are innate, that they are within us. And most cases they are learned from childhood.
That's what I wanted to ask. Is it possible for someone to learn these skills when you're ready?
Right now, when you're grown up, you can learn it. And how will you learn it? For instance, where you work, we always have what they call performance evaluation. In the performance evaluation, you might find that many colleagues are saying that you're not a team player, you can't communicate effectively, you don't keep time. So what the manager can do, they can send you to training, like to Rounding Up the Ages International. And the deliverables that they will measure, the company will measure. Okay, this person used to come late. Since they did that training, they come on time. They have their agenda, they set their priorities. They learned to communicate effectively. You don't just say things and leave questions. Who, what, where? Like, I'm leaving home and I'm like, I'm going. Where are you going? To do what and where? You get what I'm saying? You have to communicate effectively. When you do that, it facilitates interpersonal relationships. However, if you just don't apply soft skills, you find that there will be conflict. in the organizations. And then you find that people don't know the meaning why they are at that place of work. Some people just go to work just to get money, but there is more to work.
And I think we don't need only this at work, but
we
also
need them everywhere, even in the relationship, at home, in the community. This morning, as I was coming, right before me, a boarder was carrying a passenger and they fell down on the northern bypass. And as I was driving, a policeman stopped me. And he stopped me. And it's like, Madam, did you knock those people? I told him, officer, I did not knock those people. Those people fell before me. Then the policeman looked at me and was like, Madam, I believe you. Then I said, I can wait for you. You can go and ask them. You get what I'm saying? But if you lack how to communicate with someone, they would have stopped me there for interrogation. If I was like, what do you want? You're wasting my time. Or I just drive away and then another policeman gets me ahead. So those soft skills are applicable everywhere. They are applicable everywhere. And when you find today, many people lack them because parents are very busy chasing money. The children are being raised by the mates and by social media. They are always on the phone. So those skills that they used to teach us from childhood are lacking. Someone who fails to say, to greet, you find someone, say hello, how are you? Say thank you when someone has given you something. Say please, I am sorry. Those skills, when you have them, even if you don't have the technical skills, you can get a job anywhere. Or you can have technical skills, but because of your lack of soft skills, you cannot go through. You will not be sustaining the job. And I must admit, me working in the UN Human Rights for 13 years, it was attributed to my soft skills. Because I worked there, I was supposed to be there for 3 months. But because of how I was presenting myself, I joined as an IT clerk. Yes, so I joined as an IT clerk, and what happened is that my boss told me that I see you staying for long here. So I continued working. I did not say that I'm a degree holder in social sciences. I can't do IT. So that's what happened.
Okay. Quite important to pick one. And so besides the soft skilling that you do, the coaching, what else are you doing currently?
Okay. Currently, besides the soft skills training, currently I'm an upcoming farmer.
Okay.
And I'm growing coffee and bananas, cassava in northern Uganda, Noya district. I bought some land there. So I'm still learning, and I'm also
that's
growing
why you
trees.
said upcoming.
Yes. Also, as someone who is an environmental activist, I'm also planting trees. I planted some 3 acres of trees, and I plan to expand the time. And also, I'm one person who was elected as a project development committee with Vision Afrique.
Okay.
Vision Afrique is an organization that was set up. They are currently establishing offices in different countries. But right now we have an office in Lesotho, and our vision is One Africa, where we have free movement of people across the continent. We should not be asked for visas, moving from one country to another. If a Ugandan wants to work in any country in Africa, it should be easy. You understand? And then we are looking at one passport, one currency. Then we are coming up with projects like, you know how you come up with health projects and the Western world wants to dictate to you what to do? We want to look at the African context. How is our health? What are those natural resources that God has given us that we can use for our health? And then we don't want to be looked at an Africa that is vulnerable, whereby Western powers come to dictate to us what we should do. Instead, we should sit with them at equal footing and tell them how we want to run our countries. So that's what we are working on.
You're working on.
Yes.
Okay. We hope it will be possible.
It will be
Because
possible.
there is a lot,
It will be possible.
common currency
Yes,
and all that.
It will be possible, just as they came up with the European Union. We too will be able to come up with one Africa.
Right.
Yes. We just need all stakeholders to come on board. And also we need the regional blocks like East African Community, COMESA, SADC, let them work. Once they are working, connecting the blocks will help us to have the one Africa. So right now, if someone in East Africa, let's say, if I want to work in Kenya or South Sudan, government should start looking at those policies and restrictions and harmonizing them to see that, okay, within East Africa, a Ugandan can work in any part of East Africa without any problem.
Okay.
There's strength in unity.
We want to see this, but looking at the environment, the current environment in East Africa, and basically in Uganda. Yes. How long should we wait for this to happen? You can try to.
The thing is, we have to start now to have a mindset to think beyond Uganda.
Okay.
There are a lot of resources that Uganda has that are not optimally utilized because we lack some skills. Like when you go to West Africa, the people, they have population, they have creativity, they have innovation, but because their governments don't also provide so much for them, you find most of them travel out of the country. Recently, I was watching, there's a young man called Wodemaya. I hope you know him. Wodemaya, he's a Ghanaian guy. He's always telling stories about Africa. So he recently showed in Nigeria, people manufacturing vehicles. The way Uganda is also coming up with Kayola. So now you can imagine if Uganda comes up with strategic partnership with the youth in Nigeria. You see the agriculture we have here, where food, tomatoes, pineapples are getting rotten. They'll come up with technology to process it. Because in Uganda, you might find we lack the skills, but someone else in a certain part of Africa can offer it. So when you partner and you facilitate free movement of people, it can foster growth and development. And when we look at the young leaders that are coming up, I have great hope in them. I have great hope in them that, with the connection, we do meetings online. They meet people in different countries. They exchange information. They travel. They see opportunities out there. When we give them the support and leave politics aside, we'll be able to have that one Africa.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you talked of the young leaders. I see in your profile you've been a vice, a guild representative of Conference Hall, Makerere, and then you sit on the alumni for St. Joseph's in Zambia.
Yeah.
Just tell us about your leadership skills.
Yes, okay. My leadership skills started way back in high school.
Okay.
I was a dormitory prefect.
Ah.
And then later when I went to Makerere University, during the regime of Gerald Karuhanga, as elected as a guild representative councillor for Complex Hall in Makerere University. And then in the place of work, I was at the UN Human Rights. I was a national representative, representing all national staff of UN Human Rights all over the world.
Wow.
Yes, so I was advocating for the rights of national staff.
Okay.
You know, we usually have international staff and national staff. And the international staff tend to be more privileged than the national staff.
Yeah.
So I used to do advocacy, for instance, for better contracts and better treatment of the national staff. And then later I went to the, whereby I was like the assistant representative, representing both national and international staff.
Wow.
So national and international staff used to come to me to raise matters,
Okay.
and I used to raise the matters with the management and tell them about the issues that the staff are facing, and also for the policies that needed to be changed, I would influence for them to be changed. So that's as far as my leadership is concerned. And then in my community currently, where I stay in Entebbe, I stay in Canaan Estate, Maugulu. I'm like a mobilizer and treasurer for my community. So when we have Burundi once, Madame Cecily come, they look out for me. And then if the roads are bad, I'm one kind of person, I don't want to wait for government to fix problems. Where I'm able to do something, I mobilize people, collect money, collect people, we can fix our roads. So that's what I do, basically.
Wow.
Yes.
It's beautiful that you take on this leadership to your community.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Many of us wouldn't want to get involved in whatever happens around.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And then at St. Joseph's Girls in Zambia, I'm currently the president of the Alumni Association. I link the alumni with the school. We always carry out projects, mobilize resources. Also, I always do career coaching and mentoring. And then I do counseling for the students. It's very important. It is something that I take as a ministry. Being a born again, I take it as talking to people is one thing that I'm passionate about. And people always find it easy to trust me. People I've met, people I've not met. Like on the alumni group, people come to my inbox, share with me problems they have in their marriage, financial issues, those that are looking for jobs. Then I do counseling for them. At school, I talk to the teachers, I talk to the students. And when I talk to the students, students have a lot of issues that they can't open up to their parents and to the teachers. Have been handling cases of children that are suicidal. Yeah. So I follow up on them at school and talk to them. And when I get opportunities, I speak to parents on a general, like when I get a case study of a child, I'm like, you know what? This is happening to this child. Check with your children, please. Because I believe that as a community, we should be able to detect problems and solve them, rather than waiting for it to get out of hand. Yeah. At UN Human Rights, I was also a greening focal point, whereby I was the green ambassador in the office. I used to advocate for a green environment, greening the office, planting trees, encouraging staff not to use plastics, and also I wrote proposals. I even won a grant where we got a grant to procure electric vehicle, electric bike, solar installations, but this was not implemented when the office was closed. And at school at Zambia, recently we had a program whereby we were able to get trees from the National Forestry Authority on donation. So I always encourage people about the importance of planting trees. When I'm in the public means and someone is just dumping a bottle, I tell them to pick it up. And then at home, I also try to integrate it, because you have to practice what you preach.
Yeah, true.
Just like recently, I got a pressure cooker from Omeme, because I want to stop using charcoal. I cannot be advocating about greening when
using it.
Then I also bought briquettes, and I'm also marketing the briquettes. So I believe that little by little, when you start by influencing the people around you, it can have a spiral effect.
True.
Yeah.
And so your journey through leadership, what are some of the things that you feel like you have achieved as a leader, the roles that you were given to play, all the challenges that you faced as a leader?
Yeah, as a leader, one thing I was able, when I was a representative at the UN Human Rights for the staff, I was able to influence for better contracts for staff. They used to give temporary contracts to national staff, but later I was able to influence for them to get fixed term contracts. And as at the time as I was leaving, I had told them that instead of having UNDP contracts, because all national staff in the different countries, they have UNDP contracts, but then UNDP do not treat us as their staff. So you find when people have issues, they would not know where to raise. UN Human Rights would say that you're not with us. UNDP would say you're not with us. So people were in the middle. But as at the time that I was there, through my advocacy, I was able to advocate for staff to get on UN Human Rights contracts. Because also when UN Human Rights would want to promote people, UNDP would refuse. So UN Human Rights wanted to have full control of the staff. And then the other achievement I had was like enabling staff to speak up in meetings without being confronted or reprisals. Like when people have issues, they can talk to their managers, raise issues, and the managers would solve them. And then the other thing, like through counseling and mentoring people, like the people that have had like suicidal tendencies, they told me that they had hope of living again because of interacting with me. Those that were having marital issues, like they accepted the status. There was one that wanted to kill herself because the man had left her, and I'm like, when your children, when you die, who is going to take care of your children? So I just told her, shake yourself in the dust, work, take care of your children. And up to now, she's very happy. Like, I love giving hope to people. And usually when I interact with young people, I tell them about the importance of working hard. When you're able to study, you study immediately. Like myself, I studied very fast.
Very fast.
Yeah, immediately. I did my degree, master's, postgraduate. Master's and postgraduate, I paid for myself. So I tell people, when you're able to study and work hard. And then I usually talk to people about relationships. And some people, they told me that they've looked at how I do my things. Before I got born again, I was one kind of person who thought that you go with the trend, have a boyfriend, girlfriend. But I realized that you don't need to have a boyfriend or girlfriend. What's important is have friends, and from that friends, let it evolve to courtship and then marriage. And I always encourage young people, don't get pressured to get married because your friends are getting married. Or now what we have as a trend is cohabiting. Say stay at your house, stay at your parents' house. Don't move in with a man who's not married to you. And while at it, make your money. Make your money. Don't wait to depend on anyone. So, like when I was constructing my house, my friends would tell me, why are you constructing? What if you get married? What will a man do for you?
Leave the house then.
So I told them, wait for your husband to build for you. Me, I'm building for myself and for my future family. So, because of that encouragement I used to give young people, I've had young people younger than me that were talking to me, building their houses. Girls.
Wow.
They've built their houses, they've gone back to school, they are working. Some have gotten married, others are waiting for their spouses. And they tell me that thank you so much for the advice you've given me. And me too, there are people before me that I used to look at their lifestyles. I always tell people, examine the company you keep. The people that you keep influence you. I had my friend, she's called Robin, she works at UNICEF. I used to hang out with her right from masters. We studied with her at Makerere, but I was not so close to her then. Then we went for masters, and then later we were both in UN. She was in UN before me. And I used to hang out with people usually older than me, and also young people. And people were like, Sister lives such a boring weekend. On weekends, where would I be? Land inspection. Today we are in this site. Tomorrow we are at this construction site. Tomorrow we are in this farm. So I learned it that is how life is. So now I found myself also going to buy land because I would go with my friend. You understand? When she's constructing, I would see what she's doing. I also started constructing. And because of my interaction, one thing that has helped me to make it in life is God's grace, loving and living in peace and harmony with people. Through that, I've been able to network with a wide scope of people that have given me counsel, that have given me deals. The house that I constructed was by a friend, Dr. Akello at Makerere University. I met him. We used to have prayer meeting together at Makerere. So he's the one that helped me to construct my house. Then my own mother constructed the house. So because she was a single mom, she used to tell us, what is yours is yours. What is ours is not yours. So I had it in my mind, work for what is yours. So my mom, the late Beta Tim, she really taught me so much. And I did grow up saying sorry. I've been in a family with a single mom. Be content wherever you find yourself. Be content. Don't compare yourself with anyone. When you see someone better than you, don't get jealous. Instead, try to appreciate how did they get to that point? How did they do it? And learn one or two things from there. And the people below you, don't be proud. Don't be proud. Because you know this life that we walk, who knew that my job at the UN was going to end? You get what I'm saying? You can find all the opportunities you think you've overtaken anyone in life, everyone in life. Then the people you despise, and now the ones that are going to lift you up. So what I always tell people, learn to live in peace and harmony with everyone. Love, irrespective of someone's background. you don't know the divine helper that God will use to get you to your place that you need to be in your destiny. Yeah.
Quite important to learn and take on, as you know, as we go through this life. It's very important. Yeah. And as you come from northern Uganda, you said you have projects you're doing in northern Uganda.
Yes.
Then the book that you authored is about land in northern Uganda.
Yeah.
How are people in northern Uganda, and what in particular are you doing besides the projects that you're doing, to help the people back home, and in particular the women? Yes.
Yeah. So back home in northern Uganda, currently I'm on different WhatsApp groups where I share knowledge and information. Like we have an Akello think tank, then we have Rise Up Akello, whereby we discuss issues that will boost growth and development in northern Uganda. So I add my voice there. But then directly to support the women, like when I'm doing my farming, I work with women groups, single mothers, those that their husbands abandoned them. I usually like to work with them so that the money that they get from the family can help them to meet their day-to-day needs. And also, some of the women there have sponsored their children at school. Even right now, I'm still sponsoring.
That is so big.
And there's one that's staying with me. I take her as my daughter. I've been able to expose her to train on baking, and in a few months she'll start a course on welding. I told her, go to the spheres where men are dominated. And she dropped out in senior 4. But I told her, don't look at yourself as someone who is a failure. So I've offered her an opportunity to go and train in welding, and even while at home, I told her to start a business at home. She's baking cakes. She's called Brenda. So she bakes cakes, she makes donuts, and she sells in the neighborhood. Because she helps me at home, she needs something that she can balance her work. Yeah, so also with that, I'm also trying to connect her for a job out of the country. And then also in my community there, I talk to the young boys, sharing opportunities with them. There's one I got an opportunity to work in Nigeria, and he's also going to go back to school. And then in northern Uganda, the other thing I am trying to do is to advocate for unity, especially amongst the business community, so that we are able to come up with producing goods, set up uniform prices, market it, and also look at means of exporting the goods out of the country. You find many times the farmers, they will labor and they get very little. So I'm trying to influence the business community.
You as the upcoming farmer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, just yesterday I was asking on a WhatsApp group for a cooperative society in my region, because I know when I'm part of that group, I can come up with these ideas, and with the connections that I have, I can try to see how we can connect and we do export out of the country. Yes.
Good work there. Yes. And so as we come to the end of the conversation, any particular words of special advice, encouragement to the young woman, basically in northern Uganda and in Uganda in general?
Yeah. One thing that I wanted to mention of importance for young women is that when you have the opportunity to learn as much as you can. Let us not focus on the formal skills only. Learn things that are in the community, because you don't know where your opportunities will come. And also, what I always encourage young people, especially those that are graduating, I tell them, when you get out of the university, be open-minded. Don't focus on the course you studied. Myself, how I got to the UN Human Rights. I initially applied for a job at the UNDP as an IT clerk. At that time, I was working.
Did you know anything about IT by then?
I was working. I used to work in my brother's internet cafe in Tugolo. So I had the skills in IT. I didn't know everything. So I applied at UNDP and they didn't give me the job. But UNDP, they have a database. When you do well and you're not selected for that job, they can select you for other opportunities in other agencies. So UN Human Rights picked my papers from UNDP and invited me for an interview. So when I went for the interview, I told my boss then, Ms. Swaka at Akello International, and I'm like, there's this opportunity. So I told him, you go for the job. I went for the interview and I told them I did study IT, but I have skills and also I'm a fast learner. The things I don't know, I will learn. So when I went in, I was selected for the job. The job was for 3 months. And my boss told me, go, you come back. I went for 3 months, stayed for 13 years. So from IT clerk, I moved to records clerk to program management. That is the stuff I studied. So what I tell young people, when you look at a job description, if you're able to do that job, don't hesitate. If you can do 2 great things, apply. Many times, the things that attract people to the job are soft skills. Like in the UNDP, UN Human Rights, or UN agencies, when they're doing job interviews, they do competency-based interviews, which relates to soft skills. Are you a team player? Can you communicate? Interpersonal skills. It's not about first class. How you relate with people. And they do background check. They'll call you for our workplace, your school, our system. So what I tell young people, the way you behave is very key. It will open doors for you. And even some people, you see that dead people have recommended them for jobs. How those people conducted their lives when they are alive. Whose child are you? Oh, your mom. She was like this, like this, like this. Then they give you a job. So we need to look at within ourselves. What kind of person are you? Are you humble? Pride does not take us anywhere. Myself, how I see myself is that God has used different people to take me to where I am today. And I tell people, the friends you make, they matter. Don't despise anyone. Don't despise leaders. We have leaders that are complicated, yes, but we are supposed to respect them and learn to be better leaders than who they are. So what I tell people, young people, is we should learn and you should care for your reputation. I've seen young people today who want to run before they crawl. Let them know that they'll crash. So corruption, we should not be corrupt. They need to follow trends of people, learn from it, and also ask the elder people. We have a thing to learn from young people. Young people have taught me things like artificial intelligence. You know, we are living in an evolving world, so you should have a teachable spirit. When you don't have a teachable spirit, you not go far. And what's important, if you don't pray, COVID taught us that you can have all the money, but it's useless. So we need to examine having a personal relationship with God. You can have a personal relationship with God and you not need anything. Because He'll provide for everything that you need. You'll not live with fear about tomorrow. So that's just what I wanted to say.
Wow. Yes. If you're listening to Cecilia's story carefully, there is a lot of knowledge that she has shared. And as a young person, it's important to pick on the steps that have made her what she is today. Very, very beautiful story, and a lot of information to talk on as a young person. Thank you so much, Cecilia, for coming.
Thank you so much, Madreen, and I look forward to seeing you another time.
Yes, right. Yeah, it has been a beautiful conversation with Cecilia here, and I know you're also there. If you want to, to feature on one of our episodes as a woman, you're doing something in society, please reach out to our comment section and we can reach out to you. And you also share your beautiful story and encouraging words, advice to the young people. We always say we believe in the power of storytelling because her story might teach me something else that I did not know. Yes, so come in and also share your story. Thank you for being very lovely viewers, and to the people on cameras, thank you so much for your time. Follow our conversations on all our social media platforms, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at Civic Space TV. I've been your host, Madreen. See you next time. Bye.